Something else I meant to mention in the last video when we were just looking at the simple text editing is the headline levels. Now I'm going to show you that one of the easiest pages. By the way, to move around the pages rather than going back to the full list of pages, when you want to edit more than one, the easiest thing to do is to use this drop down to move them out. So I'm going to look at the staff doctors page to show you the different heading levels. When that loads, what I'm going to show you is that the top level headings are heading 2, and then you see here the different headings. Now if this, and you can see it from here, so that standard icon means it's here. We look at this and drop down, this is paragraph text here. Normal text just means normal paragraph text. If I click next to Dr. Rainbow and have a look at it, this is heading level 3. The one underneath it is heading level 4. The top one is heading 2. The page entry, the largest title, is always heading 2. Second level headings, so here to make them stand out, the main ones are heading level 3, and the next one down is heading level 4. So for instance, I'll show you how that changes. So if you made this one heading 2, you'd see it would be a lot larger and it closes the gap up because of the styling that's associated with it, because it only should be at the top of the page. And this one here, if we change that to heading level 3. Now there's only coding in for heading levels 1 through to 4, but the heading 2 for the page titles, heading 3 for subtitles, and then heading 4 for any sub-subtitles, if that makes sense, underneath a subheading. So I'm going to change that back just to show you. So that one should be heading level 3. You see here, if you've got them both as heading 3, they're wrong and the gap's too big. And this one is heading level 4. You haven't always got H3s followed by H4s, heading 4s. That's only because of these qualifications under the doctor's name. So most sort of subheadings on pages are just heading level 3. Just to make you aware of that, I'm going to take this back to that test page. And what I want to look at with you now quickly is uploading documents. Now where possible, because PDFs open everywhere across the internet, unless there's a specific reason to upload a file as a Word document, as an RTF, as a doc, as a docx, don't do it. And don't never upload things in like Microsoft Publisher, which people might not have the software to open. It's certainly not on their phones, and a huge amount of people don't have that installed even on Windows PCs. Convert everything where you can, and if you've got a modern version of Office, it's very simple. If you don't have a modern version of Office, there are plenty of free PDF converters out there. Convert everything that you can, unless it specifically needs to be in a format for somebody to work with or fill out, into a PDF file where possible. But the same format of doing this applies regardless of how you are, what kind of file you're uploading now. Let's put the text in. See this PDF file for further advice. I'll just type in this time. Put a link in, browse for the folder, go into the PDF files, that's where we want it to go, upload, find a PDF. God, let's look way back in 2007, Christmas holiday notice 2007. Doesn't matter what it is, I'm just showing you, obviously it's not correct, and the original is still up there as well, so it's named it -1. Select the file. We want that to open in a new window. Submit. Right, it's done it correctly this time by the looks of it. Edit. Sorry, no, hang on. Publish. Edit. Visit web page. Now I should have, that should be more descriptive, so that should say further advice on our opening hours, or whatever the link's about. So, but if I do this, the point was to show you how to upload the file, to select it, put in the text, to make sure it opens in a new window. And if I click on this, it should not open in this tab. If I've done it correctly, it should open in a tab next door to it. Okay. You also need to look at advice on making your PDFs when you convert them accessible these days. It's a big thing, accessibility at the moment, particularly with the NHS, and PDFs are supposed to be made to be accessible for screen readers, etc. But there's plenty of advice out there on how to do that. So that was how to upload documents. Let's close that down and go back to this test page a second. Now, a few of the pages, not many, but have some information in them in tables that are embedded on the page. One being the actual surgery opening hours page. You can see here way down you've got the opening hours. Now if you need to update that, obviously the text on the page, it works the same way. Let's just go to that page by navigating to the surgery hours page. I'm just going to show you how tables work. So actually editing any of this information is just the same. Images will come across and onto a little bit later, but you can see here you can just click into any cell and update this information. Now you haven't, but let's pretend you've got a third branch surgery. So if you wanted to add a new information here, what you do is click in this cell, and you can see now that this table icon, this grid icon, which represents tables, is highlighted, and you would insert a row after. You could also insert one before. And the tables are set up with our cascading style sheets so that they alternate rows from white to this light grey. And then you could type in, let's say you had a surgery I know there's actually one there at Henfield, and you put in your uh, 9 AM to 1 PM, your information here. Likewise, it's the same with columns. If you want to stick an extra column in it, tab in the cell that you want it to. There's not an 8th day of the week, let's just pretend there was, and you would insert column before or after. If you want to delete it, so we need to actually delete that column, delete column. This row is nonsense, so delete row. Very, very simple how information is organised in tables. And you can see here, you remember when we were talking about headings before, look, these are all on this page, they're all the subheadings are all heading level 3 apart from the entry level title, which is heading 2. And these are just bolded. These aren't headings, this is just bolded text. You can see here the bolds on. The only bit that's kind of changed on this, or editable on here, if you need this changed, you want something else on here, let us know, because this has all got a load of JavaScript and widgets in it, so we don't give access to it. But this bit of text here about the NHS app, if you update that there, it would update across all the sidebars on every page. It's an include, it's included on every single page. You can see here about accessible links. It says the service is run by Innovations in Primary Care, a not-for-profit company. So they know if they click on that link, it should be taken to the Innovations in Primary Care website. I have noticed there's no space there. So let's just publish that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the home page, because the home page layout is a bit different, because it contains a lot more information, or a lot of markers to get people off to different areas, signposted to important parts of the site. So the home page, if we go there, now some sections of that are kind of images and stuff are not going to. Now because this is a live view editor, it will also load in the JavaScript and that window that opens up with the alert message. So just click anywhere off here, left click, and it'll unload it. This message here isn't editable, they're welcome to, you need to ask us to do that. Neither's this here, we've added these. Don't worry that you can't see these icons. Neither's this bit of text at the moment here, but this bit of text is. You can change that, but try and keep it short and sweet. The buttons you can't. Now the images we haven't made, as I say with the images, problems with licensing, we haven't made these images editable for you. Also about getting the right size images to crop to the right size, and they are all indicative of where the link is taking you. But if you needed to change this, you can, I've just seen now, there shouldn't be a double dash there. You can click into any of these boxes and change it, but as you can see here, you want it to be balanced, so you only want sort of 3 or 4 lines of text, and the top ones are 4. Otherwise, you'd end up with it would just look aesthetically unpleasing if that text came all the way down here. Then you've got a section where it's the practice news and updates. Now in here, just double check these are heading levels are, right, now slightly different. Just because of the way it works, I told you that everything that was in the main content, the smaller headlines, should be heading level 3. Because these are coded as heading 3s with the links in this home page, let me just double check. This first one here is heading 2. I think it might only be the first one, and that's to shift it up so it doesn't get the spacing around it that gets applied, because the rest of them are told to put a margin above to separate out the news items. So the first news item in here is heading level 2. Just the first one, I think, and then the next one, oh no, they are all heading 2. Sorry, I build a lot of these websites and I forget the coding on each individual one. Right, so but it's not heading level 3, but it's okay. So it's coded in here that the heading level 2s on this home page are smaller than the page entry heading 2s. So these should be, I'm confused myself, but just look, the smaller headlines like this on all the other pages, if you add one, it's heading level 3, but on this home page news section, heading 2. Something else I did, you can see here if I wanted to make that heading 2. I've advised Charlotte over the years, it doesn't always get stuck to, is to try and keep your news, I mean this is quite long and wieldy, there's a lot of information in here. Don't worry about the fact that this Care Quality Commission thing appears to be appearing 4 or 5 times in here. I'm pretty sure, actually that should probably be outside the editable area so it doesn't repeat itself. But yeah, so heading level 2, there is a news page, and my suggestion has always been that you should only have maybe 3 or 4, unless they're vitally important news items, short news items on the home page, and then have the rest sort of outdated news that isn't vital for people to know, transfer it, you know, when it's a bit older to the news page. But adding the links and stuff and the information is the same, it's just these are heading level 2. So if you were adding a news item in between these two, and that's not news item heading news, obviously you could copy and paste it in. Right, all you need to do is make this heading here a heading 2. So that's just the one difference there on that section. So as you can see, it's not just one editable section, you have these sections here as well. So that's fairly simple stuff. And then we'll try and cover images in a minute. I think I might have a video on that. I'll stop this video and see if I have. So let's just publish that. That's only because I took a spacing, a full stop or something out. But it's the same, when you've done your edits, publish the page.